Can you hear me? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is how we start the show. This is RHJunior, aka Reality Check, aka Big Fat Tired Jackass. And this is Reality Check Live. Oh my. Whoo! Hello, 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 hello. If anybody's there, nobody's there. So we gotta wait a few minutes, wait for somebody to show up. Let 'em up, let 'em up, let 'em up. See. Where are the settings on this? Default font size large. Ooh, my little sloggy feeling right now. Hello, hello, hello. We've got two people who just tuned in. Yes, sing out. When you come in, say who you are. Say who you are, so we know who you are. Just, you know, you got to pull a Kramer. Slide in. You know, it's Kramer. Pull a Lenny and Squiggy. Boom. Hello. Talking about Lenny and Squiggy, Laverne and Shirley. Now I feel old. I'm trying to deal with the fact that people are, you know, the younger generation doesn't know who Kramer is, and I'm still back here with like Lenny and Squiggy and Laverne and Shirley. Just growing a little too old. You know, culture's rocketing past me. You know what it feels like to grow old nowadays? You ever seen those videos of a guy pretending to run and in the background a train's racing past him? So it looks like he's going 10 times faster than he actually is. That's how it feels. You know, you're getting old fast, but the culture is zooming in the other direction twice as fast, so you look like you're 1,000 years old before you know it. Because you're talking about shows that were back in like the 60s or 70s, and you know, I mean, you grew up with Fonzie, and you talk about Fonzie now, and kids just stare at you. Who? Their parents are staring at you, going, "Who?" That's sad. It is when the kids don't know what you're talking about. You expect that, but when their parents don't, that's extra crap cherry on top of the crap sundae. What's that adults? That cartoon everybody's talking about now, Sid and Morty. Sid and Morty. I've only seen clips of it, of course. But the first thing that came to my mind is Back to the Future. I mean, it's like right on the, just Marty McFly and the professor, And kids are going to watch that cartoon, and then they're going to go see Back to the Future on the Oldies channel, and they're going to go, well, this movie totally rips off Sid and Morty. Yeah. That's old. That's sad. That's me being old. Wouldn't mind growing old if pop culture didn't get twice as old, twice as fast. Pop culture makes you feel old. Okay. Yeah. I had to run downtown to the post office today. It was a wasted trip. I've installed. I got my microchips. I got my computer chips. I got my RAM. I installed my RAM. And let's see. Let's see if it's registering. Rob, all plugged in and everything. Let's see. Memory. 8 gigabytes. We're now up from 4 to 8. I'm so excited. Hello, Daniel Meyer. Really should have gotten my beverage before I sat down. Give me a minute. I gotta go get my drink. If I don't have something to drink, I'll dry up. It's one of those. It's like 90 degrees out, which means that I'm sitting inside a toaster oven. Okay, I'll be right back. Enjoy the slidey show. And just be right back. Well, I'm back. It's hot. Humid too. But it always is. I don't know. I don't think I'm not sure I would survive out in like dry heat like Texas. I'd probably shrivel up like a raisin. Oh, anyway. Oh. Whew. I saw a meme that you'll recall that Kentucky clerk that refused to issue gay marriage licenses. Everybody batting it back and forth. I saw a meme that pretty well summed up the situation in terms that even somebody who watches Comedy Central for their news could understand. Okay, suppose you had an actress. This actress signs a contract to film a family movie. Halfway into the shoot, the family movie gets changed into a porno. The actress refuses to perform. A judge rules that because she signed a contract, she has to keep right on performing. She keeps refusing, and he has her thrown in jail. That sums it up, basically. If somebody, everybody coming out, with these stupid memes, this guy doesn't believe in this, but he still does his job. Well, I hate to break it to you. But the fact that you work for somebody doesn't give them a right to make you run uphill against your own conscience. You don't, just because you hired somebody doesn't mean you get to change the terms after the fact. That woman in Kentucky made an oath to uphold the Constitution in her state. And in her state, they have they have it in their Constitution that marriage is between one man and one woman. It's in their Constitution. It's a constitutional law in the state of Kentucky. Her bosses told her to break state law because of a judicial decision made by the federal government. There's no actual law she's been arrested for breaking a law that does not exist. She's been arrested for quote-unquote breaking a law that does not exist, but in reality for upholding the law in her state that does. And there you have it. Meanwhile, Muslims who do know what is expected in their job, whether they're working private or public service, there are Muslims up and down this country who are refusing to fulfill the agreements they signed, and nobody's doing a thing. Last time I checked, it's the law of the land. Gay marriage is the law of the land. No, it's not. But even if a judicial decision made it a law, no, it isn't. There is, however, a law requiring that we deport illegal immigrants. How come Obama isn't in jail for not enforcing that law? You know, an actual law, the one that's actually on the books. No, we're not going to see that. Of course not. Okay, so what's up with y'all? Talk to me. Say something. Let's see. Pooped. I'm always a little pooped. I don't know. I've apparently got some sort of notarized letter that I'm supposed to receive through the mail. They left one of those little notifications on my front porch along with my computer chips. And I don't know. If I don't manage to catch the mailman tomorrow, and apparently they knock, they stealth knock. I've got to run down to the post office again at noon to pick the darn thing up. Have no idea what it could be. Pardon. Sent off the monthly lot rent and sent off the thingamajiggy to get the deed release. Sounds like I did a lot more than I actually did. It basically consisted of stopping in the mailbox and stopping at the post office. Of course, when you have to go through what I do just to climb in and out of a car, that's a little bit more exercise than you think it is. Okay, any thoughts on the latest page that went up? like to hear what you thought of it. Yeah, considering you saw me draw it and heard me rant and rattle on about it all day yesterday, it's not surprising if you don't, there it is. Yep. For some reason, I keep getting Wanderer mixed up with Bandit in the forums, in the channel. It's where on the website forums. I think it's because they both have wolf-like avatars, and they both have "and" in the middle of their name. WANDER and BANDIT. I keep getting their names mixed up for some reason. I spent a good portion of yesterday griping about the fact that Bandit is still complaining about his commission from like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm just gonna I made it clear. I posted it. I'm going to send him back the $100 he paid me once I have 100 to spare, and once I've sent him that, I don't want to hear another word about it. I don't want to hear him talking about it in the forums. I don't want to hear he's been talking about it in other chat rooms or anywhere else. Had enough of it. He gets his money back. I'm going to delete. Well, I don't know if it'd be worth the effort of deleting it from the forum, because it's already in one of the books at least. So, not much point to it. So I'll just leave it where it is. I don't want to mess with it anyway. But if he says one more thing about it, I swear I will ban him for life. They will be selling snowblowers in hell before I let him back in the forums if he says one more word about it. He got months of work for something that is normally just 5 days at most. I put in hours of work on that. He knew right up front that I would exercise artistic license. I would use artistic license on the story or on the characters as I needed or as I saw fit. And quite frankly, his character lost the boxing match because I thought it was a better ending. He wanted to come in and Gary Sue his way through my comic strip. He wanted his character to come in there and just thrash the pudding. He didn't care if it went a lot, just as long as he thrashed the pudding out of the antagonist. I decided that would make a terrible story arc. I tried to tweak it up so it was better. Quite frankly, I think I did. And I've got people in the forums wondering out loud if I've forgotten their commissions. I probably have. I'll be honest. You know, if I've forgotten, you haven't forgotten my appearance, have you? Probably. That's why I write everything down. I'm just never. I'm never going to do this kind of crap ever again. I'm not going to do. You know, it pays well, but when it goes wrong, it just makes a mess. When there's a problem, there's a problem. Tuckered. I always feel tuckered these days. I just probably might be the weather change. I don't know. Change of the seasons. Begging your pardon. It's another day, another dozing off in front of the microphone. All right. Well, this is life. This is my life. Draw, talk, rant, doze off, wake back up again. Lather, rinse, repeat. Oh my. Such is life. Doze in, doze out. Catch a few moments where you're cleared, where you have complete clarity of thought. And with any luck, you manage to apply it later. Oh my. Well, it's September 11th. Take a moment and commemorate the heroes who died on that day. Those people on that flight who fought the hijackers barehanded to take control of the plane back. The 383 firemen who died in the Twin Towers alone. The soldiers who were on duty at the Pentagon. Countless innocents who were caught in the shrapnel. And the fallout when those buildings came down. 3,000 people. Most of them innocent civilians. We got traitors and limp-wristed chamberlains who want to just basically surrender to the people and to the ideology and to the fanatical maniacs who did this. We went from fighting against Islam to getting ready to absorb 10,000 Syrian refugees, quote-unquote refugees. They're actually welfare seekers, among which ISIS has bragged it has hidden agents. We've gone from liberating Afghanistan and Iraq to turning it over to the world's enemies, wrapped up in a ribbon and a string. If this nation survives, our great-grandchildren will curse our generation for letting Obama and his progressive traitors take power and control of our government. And we'll deserve it. We betrayed the memory of those people. We betray the memory of every soldier who fought and died fighting the Taliban and fighting Al-Qaeda and fighting Osama bin Laden and fighting the tyrant regime that was slaughtering innocents wholesale in Iraq. We would trade every drop of blood. I went downtown today. Went downtown to go and get to that post office. It's like a 5-mile drive. It's you know, it's a 5-10 minute drive for me to get to the post office to pick crap up. Stupid. No post office branch out in this corner of the city. And I get downtown, and they've got some sort of festival going on right now. On September 11th. Oh, I didn't even bother looking. I just saw the canopies and people serving out the food and selling the doodads. Who the hell throws a party on 9/11 that isn't wearing a frickin' turban? Of course, I expected this is what we can expect. I mean, it used to be that Memorial Day and Veterans Day were greeted with somberness and sobriety. Now those days are greeted with picnics. And drunks. I imagine this is how the generation of World War II felt when they started seeing people treating Memorial Day like a three-day weekend beer fest. This is the age, we're living in an age where there's nowhere left to run. It used to be that if you were living under oppression, you could flee to America, or flee to Great Britain, or flee to the handful of other free nations on this planet. Where do we go now that those places are overrun? It's not the nature of evil to let us leave the battlefield. 9 times out of 10, all that the side of good wants to do is walk away from the conflict. The Pilgrims came here because they didn't want to have to fight their own country just to worship as they chose. Immigrants fleeing from regimes all over the world came to America because they did not want to half destroy whatever was left of their countries, trying to unseat the villains who had taken them over. But it wasn't enough that it's not enough that we want to leave the battlefield. They'll chase after us. We exist. We exist, and even if we never interfaced with them in a billion years, that if our existence made absolutely no difference to them, that is the question. Hmm. I'm just crashing out left and right here. I'm doped on caffeine here. I've been guzzling caffeinated drink, sugar, and I've had a full meal, and got my energy levels up as well as I could, but hmm. 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 Right. Seriously, I am sorry about that. I'm just not able to stay awake right now. I'm just fading in and out. Doing my best, but it looks like it's going to be a heavy talking day. Trying to stay awake. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bacon. Got everything in the fridge except bacon. Probably should pick up some bacon next time I'm out. I feel odd about bacon. Okay, first of all, bacon, nummy. Barbecued pork, nummy. But then again, it's not kosher. And yes, I know, as Gentiles, we're not expected, we're in an age of grace, we're not expected to keep kosher. But the dietary laws weren't just, arbitrary. They were there for a reason. And to be honest, there's a lot of evidence, pro and con, a little bit of evidence here and there. Bacon is bad for you. Pork is bad for you. Ham, pig meat. Not just it's so fattening. No, it's not. It's not that. There are various people come out and say that it causes various problems with your body, and so a lot. Some people decide keep eat as little pork as possible. Whatever God puts in front of you, thank Him for it and eat it. But yeah, that's the thing of it. Now this little chart here, this here is a good illustration of why tau is better than pi. And for those who've been following that particular discussion, there are people that point out that pi is the ratio of the diameter to the circumference. But what kind of person measures a circle from side to side? How do you draw a circle with a compass? You take a compass, you draw the radius from the center. That's how you get an even circle. You know, have you ever tried to measure a circle freehand? You know, across the middle? It's a pain in the ass. You have to measure the radius and multiply it by 2. There are people that say that tau is a better idea because it's the radius to the diameter, which is 6, you know, instead of being, what is pi? 3.14. But with tau, it's 6.28. Blada, blada, blada. Which also means is that that calculation that it was just showing with the, you know, the radiuses of a circle, it's evenly divided up. Well, there's entire videos on YouTube about that, so look it up. I'm not a mathematician, but it just strikes me that, yeah, that makes more sense. And it probably would have, if tau, if we had used tau in my math classes in high school, I would have gotten miles farther into more advanced math. Because it would have made math a lot more, it would have made certain concepts in math very simple, very elegant, very obvious, very easy to understand. And it would have made a lot, it would have simplified and spent a lot of processes that are common to, you know, a lot of equations and processes and functions in math. And math, I like math, you know, to some extent. You know, I always liked math and science when I was a kid, because math wasn't subject to interpretation. You didn't have, you didn't end up with two math teachers arguing, you know, about whether the multiplication table was constitutional or not, that kind of thing. You didn't have, you know, I mean, you go into history, you've got people debating both sides of the Civil War to this day. You've got people who are coming out trying to rewrite history and try and claim that that the Founding Fathers didn't want to protect the right to bear arms. You've got people that come out and try and they pull all these shenanigans and double meanings and a word just escaped my memory. What do they call it when? They use euphemisms and ambiguities to try and make it sound like the Founding Fathers said one thing and meant another. Equivocation. That's why liberals hate definitions so much. And this is why they try and make one word mean everything. Everything is, you know, you notice with the feminists, everything is rape now. I had sex with him and it wasn't as good as I expected it to be. I changed my mind. It's not regret, it's rape. He did it up the butt when I wasn't really in the mood. It was rape. looked at me funny. That was eye rape. They hate clear, concise definitions. That's why you don't see too many liberals going into mathematics. Now, Mr. Clinton, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Well, that depends upon what your definition of 4 is. The point is not that they use the word so much as that they use it for everything. They use, what we used to call morning after regrets. They call rape. Drunken hookups are now rape. Changing your mind in the middle of sex used to be called heartless and sadistic. Now it's called rape. They use the word to mean everything they want. They're like Humpty Dumpty. They make a word mean whatever they want it to mean, and they figure they can get away with it if making a word do extra work by paying it extra. I remember it was a crude comment. It was a crude comic, but I'll keep it safe for work. This woman, this feminist standing there, razzing this man as he's building something. What are you misogynistic whatever? What are you building? And he backs up, and it's a fembot. It's a pleasure bot. And she says, and he says, I don't care. I don't need you anymore. and he goes on about that this fembot will cook and clean and fix him breakfast in the morning and will give him sex when he wants it and won't try and sue him every 5 minutes or scream at him. And she starts, how dare you? Pay attention to me. I'm being neglect raped. And the robot goes, what is, and the robot, I won't say what the robot said, but the robot says, what is her problem? And the inventor says, she just realized she lost the only value she ever had. That's what feminism has become. Women deciding that their vagina is the Holy Grail, and that that makes everything else about them negotiable. They think that because they have a vagina, that everything else about them they can let go to hell. Their health, their personality, their intelligence, their behavior. They turned 20 and found out that every college boy on the planet would say and do anything possible to get in their pants. And they don't figure out until it's too late that was a limited time offer. Horny college boys will say, do, and agree with anything to get their hands on a tight, hot, female college age body. And the old joke that cats were worshipped thousands of years ago and they've never forgotten this. A Latter-day Feminist is somebody who is... a feminist is somebody who's lived past her expiration date and not figured out why yet. Does that sound crass, crude, brutal, sadistic, misogynist? No, it's called truth. The truth is often crass. Basically what happens when they get to college, they get feminist garbage poured into either ear, and they've got men falling at their feet. I'm with the squirrel right there. I'm with the squirrel with the cookie. They keep telling me to get into shape. Round's a shape. That is a cute, fat as heck. Cute. That is a cute squirrel. Squirrel with a cookie. That's probably the best thing that ever happened to him too, because with winter coming, they got to be that fat. Can you imagine waking up one morning, half your body weight, so hungry you're ready to kill, and you come out and there's like nothing but a couple of acorns out there? And you climb down off the tree and you're like, oh, I'm starving. And here comes somebody, some college kid with a box of snickerdoodles. Hallelujah. I remember seeing where a couple of guys ground up a no-dose pill and put about half of it into a Nutter Butter cookie. Left it out for a squirrel. They filmed the results. That squirrel, for the first minute or so, then the no-dose kicked in, and the squirrel was like... They said next day they came out and they found out 5 tons of acorns had been buried in the field next door. Squirrel is basically a rat with a toupee on his butt and an addiction to uppers. I wouldn't be surprised if people think I'm very bitter about women. I kind of am. I'm not, not because I've been in a relationship. I'm not, I just never really had. I had neither the time, money, or opportunity which is to say that whenever I had the money, I didn't have the time. Whenever I had the time, I didn't have the money. And when I had both, the pickings were non-existent. It's sad. You're looking around, oh, she's a lovely young lady. She's attending a church I'm going to. Oh, we might strike up a conversation. And, oh, she's a divorcee with one child. Oh, well. Or she's married, or she's not happening, it's... What's my pitch gonna be? Hey, baby, you ever thought of living in a trailer? No, I just didn't have time for the whole relationship gig. And when I was in high school, I'm sorry, but in high school, every girl was a bitch. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, it's like they turned 13 and they walking through the front door and somebody hit the bitch lever on them. They're just surly and mean and nasty and sadistic and conceited. You know the movie Inside Out. Remember the little green character that was supposed to be discussed? That was every girl in high school. They treated every boy in the place, just, yeah. And they were already skanks. You had, they were nasty, they were skanks, and just mean and surly and just hateful creatures. Hateful, spoiled, privileged. I wasn't, just dogging around after us. I didn't even bother, I did not have to walk into the middle of the pack of hyenas to figure out that, oh, maybe I should take a detour around this hallway. No. I was never at that point where I was even pining over. I didn't have time for it. I was like mutual. I was like one of those guys on Mutual of Omaha, sitting out in a blinder. They didn't know I existed, but I was in the room and I was watching how they acted with the boys and with each other. I'd rather stick my dick in the pencil sharpener in the front of this classroom. Than get together with any of these girls in this school. And so I just, I looked at the whole dating scene and said, forget about it. My attitude, I would run into one, and they would say, oh, it's you. And I'd be like, well, thank you for saving me the time of getting to know you as a person. Didn't bother. There were some nice girls in school, but, they already had a guy, or they were inaccessible. There was one girl. She was a junior when I was a freshman. And so nice, so sweet, Christian girl, but she never stopped smiling. She was so perky, so cheery. That was her caption in the yearbook. Most likely to never stop smiling. Seriously. She ran for prom queen. I think she was one of the runner-ups at the end, but I don't remember. I thought it was a crying shame if she didn't win. She was nice to everybody, even to the spazzes. in the classroom like me. But, I know there are nice women out there. I know there are nice, wonderful women out there, but I also know that most of them are unavailable, and the few that are available, they deserve better than me, frankly. I would probably be a terrible relationship to be in. I don't have a real job, and I'm not in any condition to get a quote-unquote real job. You know, I'm self-employed, largely, but you know, let's be honest here. And no, it just wasn't happening, and it's still not. It's never going to, because you know, I mean, I'm a single guy in bad physical health, living off his webcomics and living in a trailer that's as stank and broken down as he is. If I had a daughter that told me she was dating somebody like that, I would be like, call the cops. No. So it's not that I hate women, and it's not that I think that there's not a woman that deserves me, or any crap like that. Oh, well, technically, no woman deserves me. I'm not, you know, nobody deserves a punishment like that. But, but no, I'm just not one of those guys who's meant to be in a relationship, and you know, that's sad, but that's life. It happens to people. But I've had friends that have been destroyed by women. I've watched as women who enjoy a level of privilege that my entire family combined couldn't lay claim to. Tearing my society to shreds for their own amusement, and shouting about how they're persecuted. I've seen what feminism is doing to our country, what it's doing, and what it's doing indirectly to me, and to other men like me. As we live in a society that treats men by default as extraneous, as superfluous, as being sub-simian scum, and we're astonished. You know, we've got an entire generation. They spent years saying, "Who needs a man?" And they're so astonished and so outraged that entire generations of men have taken them at their word. Who needs a man? Who needs a man? Oh, well, fine, honey. See you later. I'll stay here with my expendable income and my privacy and my peace and happiness. I mean, God, you know, I mean, this is old as the Old Testament, okay? This is old as the Bible. They say it was better for a man to live on a rooftop, in a corner of a rooftop, than live in a mansion with a contentious woman. We got entire generations today who are going, why aren't you out there marrying one of these sea hags? No. I'm bitter and angry at a society that has turned women and men into mortal enemies for the advantage of a handful who are playing the victim card. Race baiter, gender baiters. You know, you got race baiters. Make no mistake that the gender war has profiteers too. And they've started a race. They've started a war between the genders, and they have used propaganda to blame the entirety of the war on the men, even on men who have gone the way of Switzerland. That's what really gets me. I mean, nobody. I mean, even in World War II, nobody blamed Switzerland for anything that happened in World War II. On either side. Because they were a teeny tiny country in a teeny tiny little mountain range, and they fell back into a defensive position. But in our society, men who have opted out of the whole mess, who decided, fine, women hate men, women hate us, fine, we'll leave them alone, we'll go, we'll stay in our little basement apartments and play our video games, read our comic books, watch our movies, and just be left in peace. The only boobies we'll come close to will be, we'll have the last name JPG. Most of these men, the only woman in their life is a full-length body pillow with an anime character on it. And feminists are coming out of the woodwork accusing these men who literally have nothing to do with the whole dating scene. They have nothing to do with that. They're minding their own business, not bother nobody, and just, how dare you sit there quietly minding your own business? We're being raped. We're being neglect raped. We're being ignored raped. Look at these misogynists sitting over there not paying attention to us. Can't imagine why a guy like me would be bitter about that. Oh, why would I be bitter about that? Why would I be angry about the fact that I have minded my own business and not inflicted on the planet since my birth? And these women are climbing the walls, screaming, yelling, and frothing at the mouth, accusing me of misogyny and of oppressing them. I don't even know who the hell they are, but somehow I'm oppressing them. Can't imagine why I would get bitter about that. How dare I be bitter about that? Can you dig where I'm coming from here? I've rattled on that enough. I don't want to keep barking about it all the time. But, you're going to keep griping about things that never seem to change. And when things seem to constantly get worse, okay, the My Little Pony episode tomorrow. I have not seen the teaser trailer, and I probably don't want to. I'd rather keep some things a surprise. Considering how annoyed I was by the teaser trailers they kept hitting us with leading up to Twilight's transformation. I was so mad after that episode was over. Not because Twilight had ascended. I was fine with her becoming an alicorn. And not even really because she'd become a princess, though I had objections to that because of what it does to the story and to the ethics of the show. But because after all that build-up, there was nothing in that terribly, horribly done episode that nothing that we didn't learn from all the teasers and all the trailers. Okay, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Yeah, they're teasing CMC a lot. Okay, I'd better see some cutie marks, and I'd better see Scootaloo fly. Because, like I said last night, Lauren Faust said something that was just really terrible. She used to say, oh, she just hasn't figured it out yet, but now her thing is, oh, well, I think it would be good if she never flew because children need to learn that some dreams never come true. Look, I put up for 20 years with the Trix Rabbit never getting any cereal, alright? There's a breaking point. But no, I don't want to. I'll watch the episode once it's aired, once it's on YouTube. Not a moment sooner. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear the plot. I don't want to know what it's going to be about. I want. Because the writers have gotten into a 50-50 chance of disappointing me tremendously of late. Just really. What can you do? Just a little tired at the moment. Always tired. But this is my life, I guess. Just wonder when it's going to be next, you know, physically. Am I finally going to have diabetes? Next time I go to the doctor and they do a blood sugar test, are they going to find out if my insulin has finally given up? Are they going to have to pull a vein out of my leg to get at a clot or something? What's it going to be next? Kidney stones. Any other organs? You know, I know kidney stones and gallstones. What else? Is there other organs that can develop like rocks in them? Public education is the worst deal of the century. It gives you an illusion of an education. It doesn't prepare you for anything. I mean, there have been people coming out and saying, they come out of school, they got all these stupid formulas memorized and random factoids that they are never going to use at all. The likelihood of them going into the fields where this information even influences them on a daily basis is non-existent. But at the same time, they come out, they got all this formula, but they come out, they can't balance a checkbook, they can't calculate accumulative compound interest. They can't. They don't know how to apply for a job or how to fill out a application for a mortgage, or they don't know how money works. They don't know how businesses work. There's one teacher took a remedial class. He wrote a book on, small businesses. I read it, as preparatory, just learning stuff for myself. And he's a high school teacher. And he was a businessman before he became a high school teacher. And he got this one classroom, and all these kids were remedial. And so he decided to take a different approach, because all these classes he was giving them, there's no real application. So he gave them assignment. They were to break up into groups, and they were to start a business. Not just on paper, a real business. And they did it. And he used those business lessons. These kids were from tough neighborhoods. And this is what they wanted to learn. They wanted to learn how to get rich. They wanted to learn how to make money so they could get out of the crap hole neighborhoods they lived in. And he had them show how to make a business proposal, how to calculate your expenses, and how to do taxes and licensing, and the math courses were about how to do all the math that was related to business, and just on and on and on. Just And these kids were coming out of his class. They were leaving high school and starting businesses of their own. And he he wasn't creating Rhodes Scholars who were going off and earning Nobel Prizes or whatever, but they were going out and making successes of their lives. And there you have it. We have been sold the public schooling system they've sold it to us with the pitch that by sending your kids to these schools, we prepare them for life. No, you give them an arbitrary education that's minimally necessary for factory workers. That was the idea behind the Prussian school system. Prussia, after getting their asses kicked at several wars, came up with a new educational system, a two-tiered system, one for the elites who were going to rule the society, the noblemen's sons and the richmen's sons and so on and so forth, and one for the peasants, who were going to work in the factories and plow the fields and be the cannon fodder. And our educational elites came over to Prussia, looked at it, and said, ooh, and they brought it back, and they brought back one tier. Guess which one? In fact, when they were establishing the national public, the national schooling system, one of the things they kept promising to concerned people was that, oh, don't worry, the lower classes won't be educated too much. And no, I'm not exaggerating. That was literally what they were telling these high roller robber baron types. Don't worry, the peasants aren't going to be getting too much education, just enough to keep them working the railroads and the mines. The American educational system is designed to produce cogs. And the fact that anybody has escaped from the public educational system and made a success of themselves is in spite of the system, not because of it. It is literally right down to the fact that the buildings were initially designed to be ugly, unattractive, and unstimulating. The whole thing where you break up classes into different sections and have them hustle back and forth from one room to the next, following a bell. Think about this for a minute. Instead of just making the damn teacher move from classroom to classroom, everybody else gets up and mobs through the halls. That is frickin' stupid no matter how you look at it. Now, I'm under the impression that the Japanese schools do it differently. They have the teachers move from classroom to classroom. And I'm like, why the hell aren't we doing that? Because that's the purpose of it. They're being conditioned to respond to a bell, like Pavlov's dog, to get up and shuffle mindlessly from one task to another. Home to work, to home to work, to home to work, to home to work, to the... oh, we're having a war. Home to the battlefront. Oh, the war's over. Battlefront to work, to home, to work, to home, to work, to home, to work. Die. This is the world we live in. We're buggered. The enemies of our society, people who have hated our society from childhood on, have taken over everything, and we let them. Brutal state of affairs. It's only divine, this is, anybody wants proof that God exists, just look at America. The fact that our country even still exists has been the result of divine providence holding us together like so much duct tape and baling wire. As every piece, every moving component in power has been straining to rip this country apart for their own selfish ends. That won't be a problem too long. Our government is working actively to abolish God from our country and to welcome Allah in with open arms. Hope you like bobbing like a bobbing bird to Mecca. Our society on a dozen different levels is balancing on the brink. Our economy, because of our horrible fiscal policies, our runaway spending, madness. We reached the point of madness. We've got multiple trillions of dollars in debt, and it's all based on fiat currency, which might as well be printed by Milton Bradley for a Monopoly game. We're literally hanging by a thread economically. We've got debt of every kind. We got private debt too. The educational bubble, property bubble. It's just everything is just waiting for an excuse to burst. We've got a president who is surrendering our country hand over fist to the Muslims on one side and to the illegal immigrants from the South on the other. And his traitorous companions in the government are helping him right along. The moral Christian fiber at the bottom of all of it. The moral fiber of our society has frayed almost to nothing. There's nothing holding this country together anymore except a few handfuls of tattered thread. And we have a dozen different things brewing. Our power infrastructure, our electrical grid, is a broken down mess. Our road infrastructure is literally hanging just on the edge of collapse. They say that there is, I forget what the percentage is of bridges and overpasses in this country that on inspection are have been declared extremely dangerous, need to be repaired now. We've got environmental radicals got us running around chasing floods with fire extinguishers. And meanwhile, they're causing real environmental catastrophes on purpose themselves. It was in the paper, it was in the news not too long ago. The EPA itself dumped millions of gallons of pollutants right into a river. Turned it orange from the filth they dumped into it. These so-called green projects that they come up with, they are more toxic than the things that they replace. And the regulations they have used the environmental protection as an excuse for oppression, tyranny, and the confiscation of people's property en masse. Think about the calamity that was caused by the banning of DDT. Oh, we're saving the birdies. No, they weren't, first of all. And second of all, by banning DDT, one of the safest pesticides humanity has ever discovered. Literally. Amazingly safe stuff. Thanks to that, millions, literally millions of men, women, and children died from malaria because we banned DDT and arm-twisted other countries into doing the same. The mosquito population made a resurgence. Malaria came back. We were within a hair of wiping that disease off the face of the earth forever. And those bastards brought it back. Which was their objective. The same people who were screaming about DDT hurting the birdies were the ones, you follow the money, and they come from the same groups that promote things like the zero population growth agenda, where the government gets to decide who does and doesn't have a baby. They wanted a plague to break out in the third world because there were just too many little brown babies polluting the earth. And these people are out there making decisions that the crises these things are going to cause is immeasurable. It is environmental policies that have turned the west side of the country into a gigantic tinderbox. They won't let the lumber companies come in there and clear out the dead trees or thin out the forests. And so these millions and millions and millions of acres of trees of forest out in the west they're basically just a gigantic tinderbox waiting for a match. And this is where all these gigantic fires you hear about are coming from. That's to say nothing of things like the anticipated natural disasters. They expect the Yellowstone supervolcano to pop. God knows when. They expect the next eastern coast earthquake to strike. They don't know when, and and our country is utterly unprepared for it, or for any serious natural disaster. The few months of foods we had in reserve back in the 70s, they gave away. They are out there agitating the lower classes in our society into anti-police hysteria, and at the same time they're out there militarizing the police. They're giving police body armor and gas masks and rocket launchers and tanks, and preparing them to turn them loose on the American people. there's a dozen different there's a dozen different danger signs in our society right now. The need, a dozen different little gauges where the needle's just buried in the red. All we're waiting for is one of them to finally give, and the whole thing's gonna go. Adrian, how do you think they justified the tanks? They're out there giving them gas grenades and just everything under the sun that they can dig out of storage. At the same time that they're chopping our military to pieces, they're militarizing our police, who are again understaffed, undertrained, and over testosterone. They're trying to disarm the populace on one side and give tanks and machine guns to our police on the other. Oh, that's going to work marvelously. They're cranking the welfare system up through the roof even as they're flooding our society with immigrants, both legal and illegal, who will never pay a dime into the system. It's you could go on all day just listing all the different time bombs that are ticking away under our backsides right now. And frankly, there is no place to run. Now, I'm sure if you're an able-bodied person, you could probably bury yourself out back in the hills for a few years until some government jackass tracked down the trail of smoke from your chimney and came in with his squad to loot your last bag of canned beans. They want our society to die. They want us to die with it. And they have been working ceaselessly from within for the past 50 years to make it happen. And we are literally on the threshold right now. And it is only God's mercy and nothing else that has kept it from happening yet. It's heartbreaking. It's tiring. And there are many Christians who are thinking that, this is a sign of the end times, that Jesus is going to come down and sweep us all up in the rapture, and we'll just be sitting on the sidelines watching. No. I want to point you back to World War II. I guarantee you there were people in Europe who thought the end times were here. And they had more reason than we do to believe it true. They were the ones combing the ashes of dead Jews out of their hair. Hell touched down on earth that day, in that day. So don't think for a minute that we can't go into a period of hell on earth. And surprise, no rapture. And where we just have to fight and survive and come out the other side. Don't count on the emergency escape boat being there. Don't count on the getaway driver being waiting for you there. Jesus will come in a time when nobody expects him. That's no guarantee that we are not going to go through times as bloody as our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents did. May Jesus have his grace and his blessing hand on us through what is to come. May one way or another, may we overcome. May we find peace in him, even as the storm falls. Mm. Okay. Oh my. It is a quiet evening. I appear to have hit empty on my personal tank. I'm fishing for something to talk about, really. See that my body is waiting for any opportunity whatsoever. Just start initiating shutdown procedures. Thoughts on Under the Lemon Tree? Not too many, really. Okay. Okay, I'm Still drowsing off again. Can't even stop to think for a minute, and I'm conking out. It's been a... Yeah, Under the Lemon Tree was really experimental. It was an abstract idea topped on top of an anthropomorphic cartoon, which means it was really not mainstream, and it was really going to be a difficult sell. And it was going to be hard for people to grasp. I mean, cartoons like Bloom County can get away with their surrealism, because they're surrealistic all the way through. And they have been ever since the first comic. Under the Lemon Tree didn't quite work. Never quite struck its own tone, as far as if you ask me. Goblin Hollow came closer, but still, the hang-ups that come with going, oh yes, this is, for anthropomorphics. This is funny animal stuff. This is for furries. The hang-ups and issues that come with that can really confuse the I'm sorry to cut the night short, but I'm out of energy, and I'm also out of material. I am just running on empty right now. thank you all for tuning in. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night again, an early night again. It may just be the night coming earlier, knocking my circadian rhythms out or something. But right now, if I can't stay awake for more than 5 minutes, then there's not much point in it. But did have a little fun, had a little talk, talked a few things, a few social issues. I would really like to, I'm going to try and see if we can do the call-in thing again, see if we can't get that going again with Skype. But, we'll do that on Monday. I'll see you Monday. Try and have some more stuff done for the actual website, for the comics and stuff over the weekend. And we'll go from there. Thank you all. Say a prayer for me, if you're a fellow Christian, just because I need all the help I can get. Y'all take care, and y'all have a good night. All right?